Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now.
Man, let's start with the last fight. Okay, last year you fought once in 2020. Well, sorry, not last year. Earlier this year you fought in January, and you fought Jacoby
Yes, sir.
Jones, right? Jacoby Jones. He was probably one of the you know biggest prospects coming up, and man, fifth round finish. Take us through that, man. Take us through the fight, and finally getting that finish in the fifth.
Yeah, I had my eye on Jacoby for a couple years. I keep a really close tab on, all the lightweights outside the UFC, in the UFC, but especially LFA, as I've been with them for the last 3 or 4 years pretty exclusively. So he was someone, that I had seen fight a few times before that. I had paid close attention when he was on the Dana White Contender Series, because I was looking for that title fight with him. But like you said, considered to be one of the toughest guys outside of the UFC. Had a really close fight on the Contender Series when he was there, lost by a close decision. And then that fight with Jacoby kind of went pretty close to the game plan, how we thought it would go. I thought, maybe the first couple rounds would be tough, but over 5 rounds, I think those 5 round fights give me an advantage over most guys compared to a 3 round fight. So I knew that if I just kept chipping away, I would have a chance to wear him out. And that submission was something I had been working on and really looking for going into that fight. So that was kind of exactly what we were looking for there. I knew that it would be a tough fight, and I'm kind of looking at the same coming up here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, with that fight and the level of opponent, right? I think a lot of people expected you to maybe be signed after that fight, right? Were you expecting the same? Were you thinking the same?
Yeah, I thought I've been pretty close to that now. The last couple fights, especially after the Jacoby fight, I'm with Iridium Sports, who is putting fighters in the UFC regularly, and I actually almost got landed a short notice fight with Ludovic Klein a couple months ago. I had accepted a short notice fight on about 10 days notice. For some reason or another, it went to another fighter, AJ Cunningham, and it didn't happen then. But I know that I'm close. But so I'm just looking forward to continuing to prove myself, and make it happen. I think another impressive win here should do it, but nothing is guaranteed. You could be the best fighter outside the UFC and never get the call. So for me, sitting and waiting around, waiting for that was not waiting too long for that was not necessarily an option. So I want to stay active. I feel like I'm in my prime right now, so I'm just going to keep making a statement until they can't deny me.
Yeah, for sure, man. You're the king of the division at in LFA, so you gotta defend the crown. And after that fight, how were you physically?
Man, my legs. I think Jacoby put some dents in my legs for sure. But that's something that I've dealt with before, and I took a couple. I had some teammates fighting pretty soon after that, so I really didn't take too much time off. I worked my way around it and worked back into the gym pretty quick because I was hoping for that UFC call up, and kind of been ready for a short notice fight ever since then. So I really haven't been out of the gym for a very extended amount of time since that fight. But yeah, he kicked the crap out of my legs for sure. Props to him. Respect to him.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're defending your title against Richie Lewis. Richie Lewis, another guy. They give you all the guys that are coming up, right? Another guy, he's undefeated as well. What do you think of him and the style that he brings?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty physically strong wrestler. I think that he knows what his strengths are, and he's stubborn about getting to them. And those are the complimentary things I'll say. I'll say I don't think he's as well rounded as Jacoby. Maybe he's a little bit physically stronger and a little bit more of a pure wrestler than Jacoby, but I don't think he puts it all together quite as smoothly as Jacoby does. So I think it brings a little different set of problems to solve. I think I hoping to have the striking advantage in there and just keep things. I don't want to give away too much, but my strategy for every fight is pretty much the same: chip away and find my spots and wear them out and take advantage of the positions come to me. I think that's my biggest advantage in the game is that I'm one of the more well-rounded guys in the division. I have some really strong spots, but I can also fight pretty much anywhere. So I'm looking to kind of find his weak spot in there as we go through the rounds and take advantage when I can.
Yeah, they put you against like these wrestlers, but you're also, a high level wrestler yourself. So it doesn't really. It kind of like. Do you think it kind of like balances out where you can kind of like show off other aspects of your game?
Man, I'll be totally honest with you. I love fighting the wrestlers because their strength in the fight is now up against one of my strengths too. So I think I match up really well with these guys, and they tend to be a little bit like shorter and stockier type guys. So I'm able to find my range on my feet and find my advantages where I can with my length and my frame. So yeah, I've Richie's undefeated, excited. That's why I asked for him. You know what I mean? I was asking for Jacoby. I was asking for Richie because I know he's got some hype behind him, and I know that if I show up and show the best version of myself, that it only looks better on me to beat these guys that are undefeated, well known. So yeah, I'm up for the challenge, and I think it's a great matchup for me.
I just wanted to rewind a little bit on your career and the last couple of years. What are some changes you've made that have benefited you to become as good as you are right now? You know what I mean? You said you're in your prime. Like, what are some alterations you've made with your training, with your lifestyle, anything?
Yeah, so going back to 2020, I debuted. The last time I lost was 2020, during COVID to Evan Elder. That was my LFA debut. And since then, a couple years before that, I haven't drank, almost, probably like 6, 7 years. So I think that part of my lifestyle helps me stay in shape out of fights and get in really good shape during training camp. But I also couple 2, 3 years ago, as I was really getting into this LFA run, I got added another coach to my team, Coach Nick the Goat Thompson, who was the first person to ever beat Eddie Alvarez, knocked out Eddie Alvarez back in the day, has fought a who's who, fought in the UFC, won in the UFC, but a high level black belt and a high level MMA competitor with almost 50 fights, and I get to do a lot of he's like my personal coach, so we do a lot of one-on-one training, and I've done hundreds and hundreds of rounds with Coach Nick over the last couple of years, and it's really changed my game, obviously for the better. So I give him a ton of credit. And then, along with that, I've been able to develop a strong team around me of some teammates that I can really rely on to show up a few times a week for training. So my training camps have gotten stronger and stronger the last couple of years, as far as good, consistent training partners, tough training partners that show up for me. And my dad does my strength and conditioning, and my brother is my mitts guy. So we kind of keep it in the family. But yeah, we have a nice tight knit group and things, and the recipe has been working really well. Six fights in a row now. The recipe, the game, the training camp, what we're doing has been proven to be successful. So I have a lot of confidence in that, moving into the fight, that we're doing the right things.
Yeah, 6 fights in a row. A couple split decision wins. Do those bother you? The split decision wins?
The one I would agree it was a fair split. Schulte, that was a really close fight. That was I think maybe the first one in the win streak, first or second, way a little ways back, maybe probably the first one. And that one was a close fight. Does it bother me? No, I think I won, and the commentators, for the most part, said it could have gone either way, and that I probably won. So no, I don't dwell on it a lot. The one against Richie Miranda, I do not agree with that being a split decision. I think that I clearly won 2 of the 3 rounds, maybe 3 of the 3 rounds. So that one does bother me. I was shocked when that went split at the end. I thought I had clearly controlled most of that fight. But Richie style kind of does that. Richie has a lot of close decisions like that.
With the experience that you're accumulating, right, against these high level prospects, Do you see your eyes getting better in the cage during fights as you continue on this win streak?
Yeah, I feel like I learn a lot every time I'm in the cage, getting more comfortable. Um, and then just far as handling the nerves, going into the fight, I felt real comfortable. I think I get a little more comfortable in there every time. But then just the experience of doing all these training camps, I have notes and the practice plans and my weight and what I ate and what workouts I did. All this stuff is logged for the most part. So just I can take a lot of confidence in the fact that the process has been working, and I've kind of been through not everything in the fight game. I'm still only 10 fights into my career, but the Donald Trump Bush fight, I was hurt going in and uh, dealt with that. So I just feel like I'm gaining more experience in the training camp, in the fight. Yeah, every time I feel like I'm learning a lot, which is a cool experience. It's worth it.
The dude's name was
Learning
Donald
a lot
Trump
about
Bush.
myself. His name was Donald Bush, and that was his fight nickname that he was going with, Donald Trump Bush. Yeah, he said he wanted to have two presidents in his name. He was a crazy Florida man, Donald Bush, epitome of Florida guy. But no, respect to Donald. He was cool.
This fight, man, coming up, LFA 185 main event. You're defending your title. What do you envision for yourself? Like, what do you want to show?
I just want to, I have had a firm belief that I'm one of the best lightweights in the world the last couple of years. So I just want to show the level that I'm training at, that I think I'm at, that I believe I'm at. So I want to show the best version of myself. Always going for the finish, because that makes a huge a more of an impact, more of a highlight to show, something to catch their eye. But I want to win and win another bout. A lot of people say and still. I want to be two-time. And still doesn't seem like as big of a deal as two times I've won the belt against two big prospects. So I'm looking to just make another statement and keep proving that I'm one of the best in the world, not signed to the UFC right now, and that's where I want to be after this fight.
There you go. June 7th, LFA 185, Indiana. Kegan, thank you, man, so much for the
Yeah.
time, and all the best in the fight. And hocefully, man, we'll be seeing you in the octagon later this year.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me.